Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm Courtney.
And I'm MK.
I felt very like I said that really weird. I don't know if I did, but I feel like I said it very weird. Um,
I don't
but
know.
anyways, how are you?
I'm okay. I'm just in a funk because the weather's in a funk and everything about it makes me sad.
I get that.
Um, but no, I don't know. I finally watched Knives Out last week.
Oh my God, did you love it?
I did love it. I did.
Oh, I have to watch Glass Onion. Very.
No,
Oh,
I
you
did.
watched
I
Onion
I watched
first.
Glass Onion first.
Okay. Knives Out was very
But
good.
I was funnier. Um, but no, I didn't solve the mystery in Knives Out. I did in Glass Onion. I was convinced that I knew what the answer was, and then it was not that at all. Um, so, but yeah,
You
I'm
love
just like, I'm just like, I will feel so much better when the weather's better. And oh my God, I was like, something happened last week. I am sure. I couldn't think of anything, but I remember I took Dan for his first ever Chinese acupuncture deep tissue massage.
I'm sorry. So
Um,
there are a lot of things happening at one
no,
time.
so not acupuncture, that's not the right word.
Okay.
No, what do they call it? Um, like
Therapeutic?
reflexology, like no, like where like it's the intense
Yeah.
like elbows in your back, crazy intense massage. Um, my mom and dad go all the time. My dad is like friends with the people who like the Chinese people who run the shop. They like make him homemade like dumplings and stuff.
That's so
Um,
sweet.
love them. And so we went and we did, and I texted my parents and I go, I'm taking Dan to get a massage because his back is worse than mine. And my back was so bad, like not this past weekend, but the weekend before, like when I was getting ready for the wedding and I felt sick, my dad tried to like help me by like loosening my back and he was like, no, 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 I can't do anything with this. It's that bad. And I was like, and you think my back's bad, Dan's is worse. So I took him, um, and I introduced him to Heidi and Usher, and it was great. And then the next morning, the next day, I was like, how did you feel? How do you feel today? He goes, I mean, I feel better. Like, I'm definitely still tight, but like, I feel a lot looser. I go, no, but like, how did you feel? Like, and everything else. Cause I was like, when you have a deep tissue massage like that, like, you feel really groggy because all the toxins are like
Sick.
in, yeah, like you got to get that out. And he goes, oh, is that why I felt so weird when I woke up this morning? I was like, yes, you need to drink like 2 bottles of water.
You should drink like 2 bottles of water before you leave the massage place and then
Yeah.
keep going until the next end of
And
the week. Like,
yeah.
I've gotten so
Um,
sick of massages because of
but
that. Like, ugh.
it's amazing. I feel great. I need to not wait so long between times that I do that. I'm also trying desperately to get him to do yoga with me,
I love yoga.
which he's really nervous about because he's like not a very flexible person. But I was like, no, no, no. Like when I started, I was not either.
So, to do the yoga, I'm sure you already have a plan, but I'm going to give you
Yeah.
another one.
Okay.
Um, I have the Peloton app through my insurance, and I can
Okay.
share it with you for 60 days for free. I think 60 days. And
Okay.
they have a great yoga program on there. They do yoga, Pilates, bar, all of it. They also, the
Yeah.
bike stuff. I don't have all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's only $12 a month. And it's got all this stuff on there, and we can be friends on there, and you can like do workout classes together and get badges. I'm gonna send you the link.
Okay. But now my question about that is that does it have to be like a live class?
Yeah.
Okay. Because like
Like,
I was like, I usually do it like I have a couple yoga channels or like on YouTube that I follow because I don't have time to like do it at a
yoga
live.
with Adrian.
What's that?
Yoga with Adrian.
I do love yoga with Adrienne. I also loved there's one called oh God, what is it called? The girl who did the videos, she passed away. She died during COVID and it was really awful. But like her husband and her son like are still doing the channel and like doing, they don't do it as much as she did, but like they still do like every once in a while, like because they all did it together, but like it was really awful. It was so sad. I was like my yoga girl
I have
who, what
this
is,
German yoga woman on Peloton that is amazing.
oh
And
yeah,
I do the class that I did the first time I did it live, and she shouts me out for being my first class with her. So
fantastic. What is the one?
I said, no,
I'm
I don't
like,
know what's happening. I haven't done it in months. And all of a sudden I'm like, everyone needs to do this with me now. I sent to my mom like 2 days ago. Nope, yesterday. Today's Monday. I sent to her yesterday.
fantastic. What is the name of this channel that I do my yoga with?
60-day guest pass.
Oh, Fight Master. Fight Master Yoga. That was the girl's last name. Oh, so good. Oh, I just got it. I was like, why did you just text me? Because it's the Peloton app.
Yeah, I'm really gonna get back into it probably after royalties, but like I was doing it like every day and I would do it at the office. I have a yoga mat, an exercise ball, and like yoga socks and stuff all at the office.
Mm.
And I just keep like falling off the grid because I've been so slammed at work.
I have a foam roller and a
I have a phone over
block.
here.
I have a foam roller and a block and a yoga mat, but they're all still packed. So I have to find them.
I need to get a yoga block. I have the foam roller. I should take it to the office. I live in a studio, so this is not weird, by the way, for those of
Yeah.
you who's listening. I have a music library that's just it's got a table, and if I move the table out of the way, I'm just working out in the
Yeah.
middle of it, and it's incredible.
Yeah.
And so I do all of my workouts at the office because I don't have room in my own apartment. But yeah,
Valid.
well, I have all my extra stuff up there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
Oh,
it.
I love yoga. I gotta get back into it. And
Me
I'm doing
too.
a full reset, which I'm going to talk about on next week's episode. So I'm not talking about it today. But I'm gonna do a full reset end of next week, and I hope it's gonna set me back on my
Yeah,
path.
I need to get back into it and I want him to do it with me, not because but he's like been really on a like I need to be healthier kick and I'm like even if you don't actually like lose weight or change your diet, just like the mental and emotional well-being that yoga gives me on top of the like feeling better in my back and because of the looseness, I'm like that I want you to be a part of that piece as I'm like sitting here in a weird fucking like
I know.
shawl and like,
Forward what I sent you. You should forward that to Dan. 'Cause I think I get credit if you both like sign
yeah,
up for it. But you should
I'm
both
like,
sign up with mine because you
just do
can't sign him up for 60 days. But yeah, and we should totally do it together. You don't have to do it at the same time. You can do it at the same time. You can just do the same class. Very cool. Very fun. I love the
yeah.
Peloton app.
I need to get him in like the most basic, like
Oh, so basic.
never even touch know how to touch my toes level of
And
like
they have
yoga.
Disney dance classes. Oh my God. It's like so my German yoga instructor does a Disney dance class.
I was telling him the other day, I miss bar workouts. When I used to actually take a ballet
Bars
bar
on there.
class, bar was my favorite because it
Oh,
didn't feel like working out.
I did a 90s R&B bar class. Oh, so incredible. They do an artist series, and so you can like just go to the artist and do all the workouts like with their music. Oh my gosh, it's incredible. I will never stop talking about Peloton. I don't have the bike. I will never own the bike because it is insanely expensive and the bike hurts my body. But
But
I will always support their like floor classes, bar yoga,
fantastic.
etc.
Now that we've spent like 20 minutes talking about my new workout routines,
Oh,
how are you?
you know, well, now we start talking about Peloton. I'm much better than I was before. It always gets me hype. It's been a rough week. You see this shading that I'm in, and you notice it's not normally this dark in my apartment when you see me. Um, I have a new laptop because I got home Thursday morning at 1:30 in the morning, and my laptop was sitting in tea. Um, so it doesn't work anymore, needless to say. And I'm not a millionaire. Let's start there because we don't have enough people listening to the podcast for me to be a millionaire. So
Yeah.
first of all, everyone work on that. But So I'm like, I rebudgeted my entire life and had like a panic attack at 2 in the morning. Um, it was a good time. At 3:30 in the morning, I ordered a new laptops because I was like, I have a business that I run.
Yeah.
I need a laptop by Sunday to run my business. So I came in Friday, I like ordered it Friday morning at 3:30 in the morning, and it came in like Friday afternoon. Um, and I've spiraled from there. Like I haven't been well since, but I'm working on it. I'm working on coming back together as a person. I've been really hardcore binging, and that's why we drink. I have an episode and a half left to catch up because this Friday I'm going to see them live again.
You can
I
say again.
Yeah, I just adore them. And I also made friends with this great woman last year when I went. We went and then we went and saw the Sinister Hit show. Like, oh my God, she's incredible. So like it was a really good experience. And the show was incredible. And they're like I was listening to them talk about like their storytelling is amazing. They talked about the Scottish play on the episode I listened to today, which would have been not this Sunday's, but last Sunday's episode.
Okay.
Is M does like a it's a sci-fi, not sci-fi. My God, that's us. We're sci-fi and horror. It's
Yeah.
what's the word? Paranormal and horror.
Yeah.
So, they discuss all kinds of weird stuff, and they just went through the curse of the Scottish play, and so that was very interesting. So I'm trying really hard to get hype, and
I like it.
do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get hype. But also on Saturday, so Friday is gonna be dope, and then Saturday we have a 200-person buyout from this children, and say children, it's like 15, 16-year-olds, like high school children singing competition that I'm pretty sure I also worked last year, and if so, it was miserable. So like I'm just really trying to keep things in perspective, and I'll be there for 12 hours. Like I go in at 3 and their buyout is until 2, and so like I'll have to clean up after the buyout. So like I'll be there till 3 probably. But it's just is what it. So my life is a roller coaster, and this is why I was so unhinged in the last episode, and why I will probably also sound unhinged in this episode, because I'm just trying to make it day to day at this point.
That is so fair. I feel bad because people keep asking me to hang out, and I literally can't. Like part of it is that I'm busy, and part of it is that when I'm not busy, I cannot function. I cannot people.
Yeah, Vanessa that worked at the bar with me that moved to
Yeah.
Boston, she's coming in this weekend, and she was like, "Let's go catch a play on Sunday or go do something." I was like, "First of all, I have no money. I have zero money." I was like, and
None of
also
it.
Sunday is my next day off. Like
Yeah.
today is my day off, and we'll be done at what, like 9:30? Like that's my day
Yeah.
off. Tomorrow
Yeah.
I work. Wednesday I have headshots till 9:30. I'll be there from 5 to 9 or whatever. Thursday I work. Friday, I'll probably work late because royalties are due this weekend, and my YouTube claiming stuff. You don't care. Not you care,
Yeah.
but the rest of the world does not
Yeah.
care. But all of my deadlines for work are Friday. So like I'll probably stay at the office until I go to the show.
Yeah.
And then Saturday I work 12 hours. And I was like, Sunday is my day off and I need to work on Sunday. And I was just like,
Yeah. No,
let me
tomorrow I'm doing nothing, but Wednesday is the day that I currently have my after school club with my little babies. Um, plus I is the day I'm seeing 6.
oh yes.
Thursday, I have a meeting for Relay for Life. Friday, I work. Saturday, I'm working the meat raffle at my school, which is going to be insane.
That is a wild concept, first of all.
Yeah. Have you ever been to a meat raffle?
If not, I don't even know what that means.
It's literally
Just
like,
hold up pieces of beef and be like, how
yeah,
much
like it's literally you're raffling off large portions of meat. People are just winning, drinking alcohol and screaming at you and winning meat.
I would like to go with someone who's buying all the meat.
Yeah.
I
No,
don't
no,
wanna
no. Yeah.
purchase it, but I would like to
No,
eat it.
I'm not purchasing either. I'm working.
It's
I'm throwing the tickets at the people who want to steal the tickets to buy the meat. It's going to be insane.
Is it pre-cooked? Is there an option for pre-cooked?
No.
Is there a chef that I also can get along with this? To be fair, I can cook the meat. I do not want to.
No, you just get the raw meat.
Okay. Do you
Um,
have any chefs in your life that I can borrow?
I mean, I can cook.
You want to do it? Because I can also cook. I just don't want to do it. If you want to,
I don't mind. Cooking has been great. Oh my God, I made cookies on Saturday for Dan for our anniversine.
what kind of cookies?
orange cardamom
Oh,
cookies.
no. No.
Oh, they were so good.
Are they closer to a ginger snap or closer to like an orange cookie?
Closer to a snickerdoodle.
That is not the direction I went in any of
Do
my
you
great sources.
No, the orange, it's like orange zest to just be like a
Yeah.
little bit of spice with the cardamom, but it was more like a snickerdoodle.
Like a sweeter cookie though? Like a cinnamony sweeter cookie? I
Mhm.
don't know. I was thinking more ginger snap when you said I love a ginger snap.
No, me too, but I mean, no, it's the right balance. It's
Oh,
just
the
got the,
snickerdoodle. I don't love a snickerdoodle.
I do.
Mhm.
It
That
was
is very
like, yeah, it's like a snickerdoodle, but just like a little bit spicier with the zest.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, but they were
Love
delicious.
those. I mean, I
And
could
no,
eat.
so then I worked this crazy ass meat raffle on Saturday. And then Sunday, I have to go to a bridal expo with my sister. That is not about me. Do you know how hard
We
this is going
talked
to be
about
to be at a bridal expo and not have it be about me? I'm going to be struggling. And then I have to work. So,
you know it will be end up being about you by the end. I mean, not like it won't be about her, but you will just also be a part of this. I have no doubt.
oh, for sure. So I get it. I get it. It's insane.
Yeah. So yeah. So next week maybe we'll be back together. But you know what does make me feel better and get me back together on track and whatnot?
Yes.
My spirituality.
And I feel like this one, um, works for us for today because I feel like we are both in a place where we're overly busy and working our butts off, but it's all for things that we love.
Can you please hold that thought for a second? Because you're gonna have to. And now that I'm flustered again, please enlighten me with spirituality that's gonna set my mind at ease.
Um, I think we're both busy and cranky and miserable, but it's because we are doing things that we love. They just take time and are not as quick
Absolutely.
to give us things. And so this quote says, nobody grows old by merely living a number of years. We grow old by deserting our ideals. Years may wrinkle the skin, but to give up enthusiasm wrinkles the soul. Samuel Ullman.
Good for Samuel Almond. That is correct.
Yes.
I'll have wrinkles in my skin next year, which is fine as long as I don't have wrinkles in my soul.
Yeah. Perfect.
Oh, it's my turn. I'm just like waiting for
Yeah.
you. Okay, what's next? No.
Yeah. Not today.
Okay. Today is a good day to talk about murder. It is.
It's always a good
Um,
day to talk about murder.
um, I'm sorry, of course, as soon as I was like ready to go, my like guy messaged me back. It is American Horror Story Season 1, Episode 3. So aptly titled, as per the title of the entire season, Murder House. Um, okay. So, oh gosh, I forgot. I took pictures. I I did my notes on the train. I'm a mess today. So I took
Yeah.
pictures of everything instead of like actually writing it down.
Okay.
So today it premiered October 19th, 2011. And the rating, as I spoiler alert said last week, if you watch our Sci-Fi Sunday or listen to our Sci-Fi Sunday, 8.0 out of 10.
Perfect.
The number one song is Someone Like You by Adele, which makes me feel very old because that is a 12 years ago now.
That
Um,
is uncomfy.
isn't it? It's a little icky, a little icky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, the number one movie, which I haven't watched yet, but will probably watch on a plane because that's where I watch these movies.
Yeah.
It's Paranormal Activity 3, which you've watched, right? You said you liked it better than like the first ones.
No, I watched 1 and 4.
4 is the one I was thinking you watched. So I've only watched number 1, and
Okay.
it was stupid to say the
It's
least.
also stupid, but 4 just got to me in a different way because it was all
Yeah,
like
better
web.
story.
It did, and but also like it had like all webcam shit. Like all the ghost footage was in like
Oh, right.
computer webcams,
Oh,
and that just
God.
like fucked with my head so much.
Yeah. Well, um, Also, spoiler alert, next week I'm going to be on a plane, so maybe I'll watch it then. Paranormal Activity 3, though. Also, that came out in 2011, 12 years ago, which I feel like the first one didn't even come out that long ago.
Yeah, see, I only know that because I saw Paranormal Activity 4 in the movie theaters while I was in college, and I am for sure not in college anymore.
Well, I saw the revival. It's not a theater show, but the revival of Evil Dead remake is what they're called when they're movies.
That's the word, yeah.
I've had one glass of wine. I am not drunk by any means. I just can't use my words today.
Heavens.
I saw the remake of the original Evil Dead, and now we're doing Evil Dead Rise, which I'm hoping my friend Hannah, who works at Hudson Theater, she messaged me yesterday and she was like, "Do you like the Evil Dead franchise?" And I was like, "Yes, I've only seen the movies, but yes." And so she was like, "We got to go see it." She runs a horror podcast called, oh my gosh, I am the worst friend, but
Oh,
Macabre
I was
something.
saying that I am the worst friend is probably what I would call my podcast if it was just me.
No, I am the worst friend. It is called something macabre. Oh my gosh, I can't even find it now. Of course I can't. Okay. Well, regardless. So she messaged me and I was like, yes, I want to see Evil Dead. I was like, I have a subscription to
Okay.
what do I have? Alamo. Oh my God, I'm my brain to Alamo. And I was like, so stop. Stop. Sadie's joined the chat. Um Alamo Draft House. So I was like, let's go see it at Alamo Draft House. And then she got busy, I'm sure.
Sure. All right.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Sadie's behind me now and she's trying to get in my food and it's really, really thrown off today. Anyways, the number one book is Shockwave by John Sanford, which I do not know.
Nope.
I'm sure it's lovely. Now, on this day, a surprising amount of things happened.
Okay.
Um, a surprising amount of random things. Let me start there. The members of the Irish boy band Westlife, which I did not know was Irish at the time. I did learn that in the future, but I didn't know that, announced that they're splitting up. Sad
Okay,
day.
is Westlife the one that like they split up, but then they also just like were already sold a bunch of tickets to their tour, so they just changed it to the we're breaking up farewell tour, or is that a different one?
That feels like it was Westlife.
Okay.
Because I only vaguely remember them. I never got quite into them, but they came out
Yeah.
around the same time as what was this the group that Jesse McCartney was in?
Oh,
Dream Street?
Dream Street, yes.
Dream Westlife, I think, were big around the same time. And so obviously I was very into Dream Street.
Right.
But yeah. And then, but on a positive note, Coldplay released their fifth studio album on this day.
Right.
Google unveiled the latest version of their Android mobile system, which was named Ice Cream Sandwich,
God, stop. No.
along with the Galaxy Nexus. Floodwaters threatened the Thai capital of Bangkok in the 2011 Thai floods. These are all things for you now. I'm moving on to just facts for you.
Okay.
Queen Elizabeth II commenced her 16th visit to Australia in the capital of Canberra. And 56 animals are intentionally released by their owner from an exotic animal farm in Muskingum County, Ohio. Not related to Joe Exotic, etc.
No.
But yeah, so those are our
I like how those last three were very much literally no one cares except me.
no one cares except you. That's why I was like, by the way, these are facts for you.
It's okay. On Friday, I texted Dan and I was like, today's the most important day of my life. And he was like, why? And I go, because it's Queen Elizabeth's birthday and it's Bangkok's birthday. Do we not know that April 21st is like the most important day ever?
I did not know that, but I will remember that next year because Caitlin and Jamie's anniversary is the 22nd.
Yeah. The 20th is Buffalo's birthday.
Oh, look. That's just like a
Yeah.
little fun weekend.
Yeah. So
I can't wait till the 20th on a Friday. Then you have the 20th, 21st, and 22nd. Just celebrate every day.
yeah,
Every
it's
day.
great. Great.
So for this episode that we will eventually start talking about, the I really messed up in the beginning when I was like, every episode is Ryan Murphy and Brad Falchuk. No, I don't know. I don't know why
You were like, I just made assumptions. And you know what happens when you assume?
I do. I do. Tell the rest of the world though. The director is Bradley Wecker, which I believe was also in the first episode, but those notes were in a different notebook, so I don't know for sure.
Cool.
He's well known for American Horror Story, Glee, 911 Lone Star, and Eat, Pray, Love. I remember all of those shows because I
That
was thinking
sounds vaguely familiar.
also the ones Brad Falchuk did.
Yeah.
I think we also talked about this guy briefly. I don't have any fun facts about him. The writer for this episode, again, Ryan Murphy and Brad Falchuk created it, and they were
Yeah.
credited as creators. The writer is Jennifer Salt.
Is who?
Jennifer Salt. She's known for Play It Again. That's not a word. Sane, American Horror Story, and Sisters. She was an actress in Sisters and a few other things. Basically, all of her trivia was that she's friends with famous people.
Oh, okay.
Steven Spielberg. They would like hung out once, and like there was somebody else that like she was a roommate with, but it was like literally all of them were that she was just like friends with famous people. And I was like, okay, well, it's not as
That's
exciting.
yeah.
Our editor is Bradley Wecker. I'm gonna butcher his name every time. And Mickey Blythe. Mickey Blythe is known for Criminal Minds Beyond Borders, which I didn't realize existed. Good to know.
Yeah.
FBI, American Horror Story, and Law and Order Organized Crime. So basically, they just picked up all the spinoffs,
Yeah.
ran with them, which is fine. And today, our person that we're going to talk about as a guest star is Kate Mara, who plays Hayden. And there are so many fun facts about her, like so many. I had to narrow them down. Let me pull them up. So she played Sue Storm in Fantastic Four, so she has her little Fantastic Four connection with Evan Peters. She is known for
the Fantastic Four movies that she was in, let's just say this once and for all, are fucking garbage and shouldn't exist. And I don't feel bad saying that.
I don't think I've seen the one she's in yet. I
No,
think I saw
they're
the other ones.
yeah, no, they're garbage. They're just straight garbage.
Not surprised by that at all. She's also known for Happy Thank You More Please, which is one word.
Nope.
Not a thing I've heard of. Shooter, which I've heard of but never seen, and The Martian, which starred
Matt Damon.
who was in the bar 4 weeks ago.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, he was in the bar like 4 weeks ago. He's like filming a movie around town. I didn't talk to him. I was in a very bad mood that time, so I didn't talk to him.
Oh my God. That's
I
like
have
a
a
like
picture of him from that Jason took and Jason sent me.
that's like a like there's some people that it's like, oh my God, they're famous, but like that's like a fucking actual famous
Like
person.
real A-list, yeah. I mean, Bobby Cannavale was in there like 2 months ago.
Yeah, but Bonnie Cannavale is like famous, but like also the things that he's known for are more niche and like people know him or they don't. You know what I mean?
Will and Grace.
No, okay, yes, but Will and Grace is not fucking Academy Awards.
No.
Will and Grace is not Good Will Hunting, best friends with Ben Affleck.
Sure.
Like,
Fine. But yeah, so Matt Damon was, I really thought I told you. That happened one day. That must have been one of our hiatus times where we like didn't record for 2 weeks and recorded like an insane amount. Yeah, I didn't talk to him. Matt, who I work with, not Matt Damon. Matt served him, and he said he used to serve him at like one of his old bars he worked at. And he was like, yeah, he's just like a chill guy. And he looked a little rough around the edges, but seemed nice enough. He took a picture with like a fan who was next to the table next over. So
fantastic.
yeah, I'm sorry for like just casually introducing new information for you. Yeah, her great grandfather was Tim Mara, who founded the Giants,
Yes.
like the New York Giants. I had no idea
Yes.
that was a relation there.
Yeah.
I've heard of Tamara. Had no idea who was related to Kate
Yeah.
Mara.
Rooney Mara. Is Rooney her sister?
It's her sister. Also,
Yeah.
did not make that. I'm not great at making Hollywood connections unless there's not one there.
Mm.
That's usually how I approach it.
Good.
Her great uncle was Dan Rooney, who was the U.S. ambassador for Ireland, 2009 to 2012.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness, I my laptop's getting ready to die, and I just realized my cord is not long. I'm gonna have to resituate.
Okay.
And her favorite films, which you're gonna love this, are Coal Miner's Daughter. I mean, because of course,
Of
who doesn't
course.
hate Coal Miner's Daughter? Um, Sound of Music, like the original 1960s, Lady Jane, English Patient, and Friday Night Lights. So you know she's like adoring that she's on screen with Connie Britton.
Oh, sure.
Is
You know,
like
she's she's also married to Jamie Bell, who
Jamie Bell.
used to be married to Evan Rachel Wood.
Yes, and she is the step parent of their child and helps raise them. Okay, I'm so sorry. I have to move closer to my charger. I did not plan out my new laptop yet. Okay. That's not the cord. Please make it, please make it, please make it. Okay. I promise I will not have this chaotic energy until I die. It is only for now. So I have a couple more fun facts for you that I saved on my phone.
Okay.
She is contractually permitted, say, to attend any Super Bowl involving the Steelers or Giants because due to her arc on 24, she missed the Super Bowl. XL, is that 40? The one in 2006.
Yeah.
And she was in consideration for the role of Selena Kyle in Dark Knight Rises and Lois Lane in Man of Steel. And obviously she lost both those roles.
Yeah.
I
I could see her as Lois. I can't see her as Selena
can't see her
Kyle.
as Selena Kyle. Yeah, I agree. I could see her as Lois Lane because that character is much milder.
Yeah.
And while she has like the craziness to her that Selena Kyle has, she doesn't have the like stability craziness. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
No, I think she's pretty. She's very pretty. I don't feel like I see her as like the the kitten part is what's missing.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, so that is Kate Mara. And I'm sure I'd seen her in one of these things.
Yeah.
I definitely knew her face when she came on here.
Yeah.
Um, can you still hear me okay?
Yeah.
My fan on my computer is like wilding out right now. Now let's get to it after 20 years. And as necessary, we start in 1983 with When the Saints Go Marching In. Which, fun fact, my office has two versions of that. The Weverse version and only Donegan?
Oh.
That's my job to know what I don't know. That's fine. So we see young baby Mora cleaning up as her maid service is meant to do.
Yeah.
And the man, assumingly of the house, comes in and just starts like trying to assault her, and she's not having it. And she's like so upset. And of course, it's the 80s. Like, sure, women are trying to get like their rights and whatnot, but it's just not there yet.
And then I was confused because if she was actually young in the 80s, then there's no way that she's as old as she looks now. And I'm still very confused on how that works.
30 years later.
Yeah, I guess. She just looks
She's 30. Like she could be like in her early 30s in the 80s. And
yeah. No, I guess you're right. I'm still I understand that the visual of Moira changes based on who is looking at her, but I still don't get how or why yet. And so it's just perplexing me trying to understand it.
I get that. That's fair. Um, but yeah, so this man is trying to assault her because apparently she slept with him before on which was clearly an accident. It was a mistake, and she
I
mentioned
was
that.
I was say, is it an accident or a mistake? I
And
don't know. I don't know how you accidentally sleep with someone.
I mean, that's not a thing. Something that happens.
Sorry, I
We
just
all have
slipped and fell
that.
into bed.
Right, right. Um, no, but then Constance walks in and immediately just shoots her. Does not say a word, just pulls out a gun and shoots her. And then she tells her husband, presumably, that she's loved him all these years and he was the first love and always been in love of her life. And then she shoots him. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
Like, I get shooting him, not really Laura's fault. You walked in while she was being attacked. Maybe should have had some camaraderie there, but like totally understand shooting him. No questions. So
See,
then
but now my question is, was it Constance's house or like were they just there? I'm just was
so many
she like fucking shot her husband and then moved in next door so she could look at the house? I don't understand.
so many questions that will one day be answered. But unfortunately for you, today is not that day.
No.
Um, but it is now present day. And they're talking about like it's Ben and Viv, and she's just like, why aren't you can't ever lie to me again? And at first it kind of plays off the idea that like she's learned he's gone back to Boston to see Hayden.
Yeah,
Now that instead he's been lying about the finances
because
and
they is broke as shit.
they have no money and anything they do own is tied up in finances for this house that they bought that they couldn't afford. And so that's fun.
So
And
great.
he's there she's like, we have to move out though. I'm sick of this house is terrible. What are we gonna do? And he's like, he says they can afford a studio apartment. And I was like, that's miserable. Like, I live in a studio apartment because I am
Yeah,
a one, never home, and it's
right.
and I'm fine. I like a studio.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine having it like a family here. Like
No. And
mine,
with a
three people
teenage daughter, no.
and a baby. Like, no, that's insane. Like my mom's trying to come visit with her and her friend, and I was like, the two of you can't stay with me. I was like, that's too many people in one spot.
Correct.
But yeah, so this is fun. And then he starts gaslighting her. And he's like, you're just having PTSD from the attack. Everything's fine.
Okay. To be fair, I don't know if gaslighting is the correct word in this case because she is genuinely what she is experiencing is PTSD and she does need to talk to somebody because she can't rationally make decisions when she's in a heightened state of traumatic stress. So
Well,
he as a like psychiatrist and his analysis of what is happening to her is correct. It just feels grody the way he's saying it to her. So I don't know that gaslighting is the right word or if it's just completely fucking insensitive.
I think it's only that insanely insensitive and gaslighty because he also tries to like hold everything about the miscarriage against her because every time she feels an
Right.
emotion, he comes back at her with something that like, oh, this is something else. And she's like, just let me feel what I feel for one point. Like,
No, for sure, for sure. And I, like I said, if this was an isolated incident, I would not.
sure.
I was like, because I literally was like, everything he's saying is correct, and it just still feels a little grody. Like I'm not a
Also,
fan.
if this was an isolated incident, I would look at it and say, okay, he's a therapist. He still can't deal with it. So his mind goes to his education and it goes to like using logic
Yeah,
to discuss everything. And so like that would make sense. But because all this other shit he's doing, like this is too much.
right.
But as an isolated incident, I agree. Um,
And I do think that whether it's the solution to their problem or not, she should probably get a fucking therapist.
Oh no, absolutely. That whole family needs a therapist. Each
Right.
of them need an individual therapist who does not know the other therapist because their issues need to be dealt with separately. They might also have a family therapist on
I was
top
gonna
of
say, and a couples therapist.
a couples therapist, a family therapist, and then all have individual therapists. Like, I
You
think
get a therapy. You get a
that,
therapy. Oprah
yes.
Winfrey's giving out therapy today.
Well, if she gave out therapy instead of cars, we might be in a better place today. But that's fine. So Viv tells him that she's meeting with the realtor tomorrow. She's like, I
Yeah.
don't care what you're doing. We're getting out of here.
Yeah.
And like, it's more power to her. And then it's all like tense and etc. And she says, if you lie to me again, we're through. And I was like, he's been lying a lot, and you're gonna
A
probably find
lot. Yeah.
out.
I
Okay.
mean, but to be fair, he's also lying about just like random shit because he
Yeah.
doesn't know what the fuck is going on.
Well,
Like, I
like he's
mean,
lying about his like sleepwalking stuff. He doesn't really know what's going on there, so he
he
hasn't talked
he
about
he hasn't told her anything about fucking the burn-faced man, but like to be fair, I would feel like I was going batshit crazy if that was happening to me, so I probably
it.
wouldn't tell anybody either.
Yeah. But that's more like um lie by omission as
Right.
to straight up lie to her face.
Yeah.
Um, and then we have the credits because we're getting really good at having a past scene go into a present scene and then go to credits. They've really set up a structure. We'll see if they stay with it.
Yeah.
Um, so we're talking to the realtor. This realtor is absurd. Like she's like talking about how close she got. She's like, I used to come for brunch, me and the guys, we had a great time. She's like a real bummer when they died. And I was like, you are way casual for being friends with a murder suicide that you are now selling their house.
Right.
Like it was probably less than a year ago. Like that's rough. And she keeps calling her Miss Horman instead of Harmon. Like she doesn't even know her
Yeah.
name. She sold her a whole
Right.
house and doesn't know her name. And the amount of times I worked in real estate law, the amount of times you have to sign a piece of paper with your real estate agent, if that name is not burned into your memory, like I don't know what you can do.
Right.
Um, and then Viv's like, we got to get out. This is happening. And she sets up some like hardcore rules. She's like, no, this is all your fault. You told us lies. You got us set here. Now that we're here, you have to get us out. And she's like, well, maybe I'm not the realtor. But she's like, don't think I didn't call every other realtor in this place.
Okay,
Like,
but also Viv is a little aggressive.
Viv is a little aggressive because the realtor did tell them what happened. She did
Right.
tell her,
And
like,
literally,
we'll do this.
the realtor's like, first of all, the law is that I disclose anything that happened in the last 3 years. I did that. Anything that happened before that, that doesn't have shit to do with me. Like, I could have. It would probably make me a nicer person. Legally, didn't fucking have to.
I actually think I was because I'm binging and that's what we drink. They
Yeah.
um, they actually addresses. I think California changed their rules that you have to like anything. It doesn't
Did
matter.
they?
Yeah.
I
Um,
feel like, but I feel like that is,
but that also is very state by state. There's a case they're actually I saw it they're discussing it in the next episode. I haven't listened yet, but I
yeah,
studied law school at Stamboski versus Ackle. I don't know.
something.
Stamboski is the case, and it's the case that set the precedent that said you have to disclose if someone died in the house within a certain time, and I think that one was set in California.
I
Um,
just feel like, okay, if the previous owner died violently, like, sure, I get it. But like, sometimes I feel like that's a little like tricky because, like, if my grandma had a heart attack, I don't necessarily, and then like technically died before the paramedics got there, that really shouldn't not have anything to do with whether you buy the house or not. Like, it has nothing to do with the house.
yeah.
If an 80-year-old lady had a
But
heart attack.
some people would disagree though if they're like very spiritualistic, like they might think that like it doesn't matter how happy they were, her spirit could still haunt this house, and maybe we don't know if she was nice or not. Maybe she was an evil old lady that stayed for the house. So
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
I find it icky to like
I
talk
think
about.
bringing it into a legal discussion again, Burge's church and state because that's
Yeah, like
very,
it feels icky to make it the law. Like, sure, violent crime, that's public record anyway.
yeah.
Cool. But like,
I
I
don't
don't
know
know.
that even violent crime should be necessary. I mean,
Right. But no, exactly. But I'm saying like that's public record anyway. If you want to say that any crime committed in like violent crime committed in the house needs to be like disclosed, I at least that like public disclosure of violent crime is a thing anyway. But I don't know, like what if my grandma had cancer and just wanted to die peacefully in her own bed instead of in the hospital and you brought her home? Like that shouldn't be your fucking business.
right? Why?
So,
Yep. I'm not gonna get on church versus state is my legal
yeah.
soapbox that I like because I'm both religious and a lawyer.
Yeah.
That is my legal soapbox that I'm always on, and I like it spirals me into the right to die. It spirals me into like telling people if somebody died. It's
Yeah.
not,
No, I just feel icky about it.
no, I 100% agree. Like I think it's, and a lot of places use it. For example, New Orleans uses it for like entertainment touristy reasons. So like people will buy houses if they know it's haunted, and so like that's the time to tell people like if it's something. Also as a real
Right.
estate agent, if that's something you're trying to sell a house for, you're going to use the best information. Like when I was doing like real estate work, I would look up the neighborhood, I would look up the schools, I would look up all this stuff, and you harp on the positives because like why do you have to tell people because you're not judging their religious background? And so
Right.
like, if they don't believe in ghosts, why are you required to tell them someone died there?
Yeah.
Like I 100% agree. 100%. But it's because of Stan Bosky. So go read that case if you'd like, or listen to the new episode of And That's Why We Drink. They talk about it probably well. I bet M does a great job. But yeah, so we're having the we're coming to blows with the realtor. And then we go to Moira, who is once again seducing Ben, because when is she not?
Right.
Like, this is just I don't understand her like drive for this, why it's happening.
Wait, is that one seducing Ben? I thought this was the scene with her and Constance in the silverware.
It's there's a very brief scene where she's seducing Ben before
Oh, okay. Okay.
um this is where she tells him that the recorder is in her shirt, I
No,
think.
because we we haven't even seen that patient yet, so that can't be
I don't
then.
know. She's just seducing him again then, because I put it in my notes. But
Okay.
then Constance comes in, and that's when she starts taking the silver to sell on eBay. And
Yeah.
she's like, I just take a little bit here and then, and she's having more like polish it so she can sell it. And I was like, what? Like every episode and every scene, she's like just stealing a new thing to sell. I have no idea
Hmm.
what she's doing. Um, and then they talk about both wanting to move on. And
Yeah.
Moira's like, I just want to leave this place. I just want to leave. And Constance is like, me too. I'm stuck in hell too. Like,
Right. So Constance is clearly not there by for fun either.
right.
She
There's a reason.
she doesn't seem to be trapped in the house the way Moira and Tate are, but she is clearly not
She's trapped with the house still.
right.
Um, we'll learn.
But that's probably because I don't think she's dead and the other ones are.
So many
There's
stories.
there's something funky going on, but I think unlike the three that we have seen so far that seem to be trapped in five, five that I think we've seen that are trapped in the house.
The
The
two
the two
and
girl, oh, the twins. I didn't even the twin. So there's the twins. There's the two girl nurses from last episode. There's
Tate,
Tate,
Moira,
Moira, and Nora. We
and
see
that person that
the
we
thing
keep
in the
hearing
basement, yeah. But we don't know
basement.
we don't know what the thing in the basement is yet. So I didn't count that as someone that we've seen and
Oh
interacted
no,
with.
I was just being like another entity, I guess.
Oh yeah, no, no.
Um, yeah. So we go back to therapy because that's what we do in this house that we live in, apparently.
Yeah.
And it's a new woman. And I didn't talk about her this episode, and she's not really going to come back up this season, but she is in a future season of American Horror Story that she's a bigger part in. So
Same,
probably
not the same character though, right?
not the same character, just she's like a whole new character, but she has a much bigger role in one of the future
Okay.
seasons. So I kind of saved her for a future season.
Um,
Um,
I felt bad because this girl was like in therapy talking about how her husband wanted to divorce her because she was the most boring person ever. And she was like, I am so sad. And I was like, you don't sound even a little bit sad. I was like, you are the most boring person. Like, I also could not be friends with her.
which obviously because Ben started to doze off. Also, worst therapist. Like, can you imagine? Like,
Hey, to be fair, I don't think he was dozing off because he was a bad therapist. He's being fucking drugged.
well, also that, but I do think he's a bad therapist. But like,
Well, yes, but in this instance, I will stand up for him because he is being fucking poisoned and drugged.
yeah, yeah. But we didn't know that at the time.
We
We
didn't.
didn't know that in this moment. And so I was like, he is the worst therapist. Like, could you imagine if you're going in and like, no one cares about what I do because it's just very boring, it's very passive, and your therapist falls asleep? I would lose my mind too. Like,
Yeah.
like, are you
No,
kidding?
absolutely.
Um, so then we wake up and he's in the yard with blood on his hands. Very Macbeth of him. Speaking of the Scottish play.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know what's happened. He walks inside.
But not
More
only does he have blood on his hands, he's laying on a patch of grass that seems to have been freshly like fucked around with, which
also not great.
no.
Yeah. And he goes back inside. Moira's like scrubbing the floor, and she's again trying to seduce him as she does. And he's like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "I'm cleaning up the blood after you." And she's like, "Well, it's not my blood." And it's like, what has happened here? And we're like,
Yeah.
because
Right,
we're
I was like,
his mindset, we don't see
we're
what
like,
happened.
we're like, Ben, what the fuck did you do?
Right. And she tells him, she's like, "It's all ready for your next victim." Like, Jesus Christ. Like, could you be a little more dramatic, Hayden?
Right.
Yeah, we're going to Hayden. She's the one who's
Yeah.
there. Maura.
Yeah.
And he realizes his tape recorder's missing. Um, so he is confronting her about it. And she again starts seducing him. And he just fires her. And Vivian walks at the same time. And she's just
Yeah.
like, what is going on? So, group chat. They're having a little group talk. And they're talking about it. Vivian's like, okay, look, apparently everything's insane. Maybe you should leave. And we're threatening to sue for sexual assault.
I literally go, you're a ghost. You can't press charges.
Also, Maura, this is not the time. The time was 30 years ago to press charges for that. Like, you are.
Yeah,
Well,
before you got shot in the face.
because unfortunately, unlike murder, sexual assault does not have a unlimited statute of limitations.
Right.
I don't need to get on. Anyways, so she's like, yeah, you should probably find another job. Moore was like, I'm gonna sue. And she's like, you know what? Never mind. Take the day off. And she's like, I'm gonna leave early. She's like, yep, great. Do that. Leave early. And so then Viv tells Ben, she's like, yeah, you're being paranoid. She's like, I don't know why you're acting out like this.
Yeah.
She's like, you're being crazy. And she's like, I think you're feeling guilty from that Boston. What did she call her? Indiscretion.
Yeah, your indiscretion in Boston.
And like, which is logical. It's very logical.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if he's going to psychoanalyze every emotion she's having.
She can come right back at him. Absolutely. And so then we go to there's a lot of outdoor gardening in this episode.
Yeah.
Which is not always for the best. So we go to Viv. She's outdoor gardening. And this big tour bus drives by. And it's called the Eternal Darkness Tour. Stop. It's called the Eternal Darkness Tour. And it says, and here's our next stop, the murder house.
And I said, well, that's fucking awkward.
And I was like, that's not great. So we go to Ben and Violet, and they're sitting outside the house. And he's, for once, being a decent dad. He's like, you should probably talk to someone. He's like, you went through a traumatic experience. And
Yeah.
don't talk to me because I'm not your therapist. I'm your father. But talk to
Right.
someone else.
But he's like being serious, but also being like cute and funny because you can't be serious with a kid like Viv. And he's like, you definitely need a therapist. Like, not me. I'm too expensive. And I'm like,
Right.
that's exactly how I would say it too. So like,
So like you said a lot of crazy stuff, but this was actually a really good dad moment for you. Like
Yeah.
roast Ben.
And then Tate even says that he's like, you're lucky. Like you have a really good dad.
Yeah, he shows up and he's like, "You have a great dad." And I was like, "Then why were you so difficult with him earlier, Tate? Why did you make everything so difficult for him?"
Because he has to, because that's his ghost job.
Ghost job. What would your ghost job be? I know we talked about this a bit in Dead Like Me.
What would my ghost job be? Well, here's the thing. If I had like a ghost job like Dead Like Me, where they just like have normal jobs and are basically like real people, I think it would be different. If I had like a ghost job like Moira or Tate, where my job was to like fuck with people, um, I feel like to I would want my ghost job to just be like slightly rearranging things behind people's backs so they just like feel like nothing that actually like hurts anybody, but they just like slightly feel like they're going crazy because every time they're like, I swear I did not leave my keys there. It's because you didn't.
Yeah. You'd have to find someone who doesn't have ADHD. Because I was like, I could never think I had a ghost in my house because my ADHD is just like, yeah, I probably left that cabinet open. That's fine. Just moves on. I think I would be like, we always talk about Judy who passed away at my office.
Yeah.
We're always like, yeah, she still hangs out here. Every time we see like a shadow like glint in one of the offices, we're like, that's Judy. That would be me. I would come back and haunt my office and 100% and just be like, shadows here, shadows there, and then
Yeah.
like knock something over. Like just be just slightly inconvenient, just enough to like terrify you.
Yeah. Maybe I would just like play with puppies.
Oh God, I love it. But like puppies don't like ghosts. They bark at them. I guess you could befriend them though, like if you're there long
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I'd
don't
want to
know.
go to like a house.
Speaking of, where the fuck has the dog been for like the last 3 episodes?
That's not important to the storyline, so there it's not here. That's how it goes.
Great.
That's how it
Because
works.
with all this shit, the dog has probably just barked itself to death and died in a corner somewhere and nobody paid attention because there's so much other fucking shit going on. Because with all the ghost activity in this house, that dog has
Going
gotten the
wild.
fuck out of there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's how I know I don't have ghosts, because my dog is just like chill all the time.
Yeah.
Um yeah, so then we go back to Ben and Moore. Oh, this is the scene where he's blaming her for taking the voice recorder.
Yes.
And she tries to seduce him, and she's like, "It's just on my shirt. If you just want to like reach down my shirt." And I was like, "Jesus Christ, why is this still like this is such a cliche scene?" And it's
Yeah.
um, and then she's like, "Your next patient is here."
He's like, I didn't schedule anybody with this shit.
Because of course the next patient is Hayden. She's coming from Boston, and she's losing her mind, and she tells him she didn't have she didn't have the abortion. So she's like, "I'm still pregnant with your kid, and now I'm moving here, and we're gonna be a family." And why he doesn't just say, "My wife is also pregnant. We are having a kid. I cannot leave you to have a family somewhere else." Like, I don't understand. He never mentions that Viv is pregnant.
Maybe because a part of him realizes that it doesn't make any goddamn sense that Viv is pregnant. Because she did get pregnant in 13 seconds.
I mean, yeah, fair, but just a mess. So he's like, so the LAPD arrive, and he's like, "Look, you gotta go. I gotta talk to the police." And she's like, "Cool, meet me at Norm's at 3 tomorrow." And he's like, "Great, done." So the police comes in, and we learn that the woman, um,
Sally Freeman.
Sally Freeman, I was like, I wrote her name down somewhere, but I guess not in the scene,
Yeah.
has gone missing. No one can find her. And that was the patient he had that was boring.
Yeah.
And he's the last one to see her. Well, he also obviously doesn't remember because he woke up in his yard with blood on his hands. And so he just tells him what he knows. He's like, yeah, she came in. She told me stuff. She left. She didn't seem like it harmed herself or others. So there was nothing to report. And then this is the first time we see someone else see young Moira.
Yeah.
So
But I was like, so it's a gender thing. No, I think it's a gender thing because the other thing that happened earlier in this episode was Moira said to Viv, men see what they want to see, women see your soul.
So
So
yes, but also when someone like Tate sees her,
he's not going to see it's because that's not what he wants to see.
I think people who have quote unquote indiscretions see her as someone who is a seductress
Hmm.
because they're already prone to that.
Yeah.
So that's the way I think it is. I don't know if that's ever verified this season or not, but that's my prediction.
Yeah.
Um, it's been a couple years since I actually watched the full season.
Right.
Um, and then we cut to a scene that seems like it's out of nowhere.
I was so fucking confused.
I was confused, and I've seen this season before. Like I was like, where? I was like, did I accidentally
I
start?
was like, I literally thought I accidentally like clicked on something else and started a different fucking show.
So the 10th season of American Horror Story is NYC, and it's about essentially the AIDS epidemic. That's not what they call it, but that's essentially what it's about. And
Yeah.
and like leather clubs and stuff. So I was like, did I accidentally like fall asleep for a minute? And then it went to the last episode that I had watched from season 10. No. So there's these two guys, they're on the street. It's black and white, so it's clearly not today.
Well,
And
it's not quite black and white. It's like weirdly like sepia-ish.
yeah, but it's not full color for present day.
Yeah.
And so they're talking, and the one guy's like telling him he's cruising. He's like, "You're," which is, for those of you who don't know, a term that was used mostly by gay people in the 80s ish,
Yeah.
to pick up other guys. Um, and so he was like, I thought it was fair game, and then this guy just like turns around and kills him. And then we come to present day, and we have this voiceover, and it's the guy in the Eternal Darkness bus, and he's like, and this is where so and
So
so,
many, yeah.
yeah, and he died, and this is how this went.
Yeah.
And then we pull up, and he's like, and the next stop is Murder House, and that's when we see that Viv, I almost called her Connie. That's her name.
Yeah.
Viv is on this tour. And they get to the murder house, and we learn about this story that we've never heard before. Charles, who was a surgeon, lived in this house before with his wife Nora. They own the house, and he was doing drugs. He wasn't doing well, and he started getting this Frankenstein complex. So he started creating these new lives.
Weird
That's
fucking
where,
crazy shit.
so in the first episode and in the credits where we see these like jars with like quote unquote beings in them, this is kind of where that started.
Yeah.
And you can see, like, we even see him like breathing in drugs, like whenever Nora calls him to come to dinner.
Yeah.
And then they go upstairs, they have a child, and the child just like every time it screams, they just get the maid to come take care of it, which is on par.
No, I was gonna say not uncommon for a rich person in 1922. It's not.
Or 2023, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
So I was like, the poor child. So they make the maid deal with them. They're arguing about all of this. We learn that they're overdue on bills. Bill collectors keep coming by. So Nora like devises this new plan. And Charles is going to give essentially back alley abortions, but
Yeah.
he's a surgeon, so it is at least a little safer than if they were back alley abortions.
Right.
That's how they're going to earn money. And it's, like you said, early 1920s. So they're charging $60, which is good for the time.
Yeah.
And Nora is arranging it. And you can see like the confliction in her when she does it, because she doesn't love that she's doing it, but she knows that that's how they're going to make money.
Right.
So she's arranging these basement abortions. And then they mention that they have like these girls come in that are trying to be actresses and trying to like move forward. And we learn that 1926 it stopped.
Because of something.
because of something. And we don't get a reason why. It's implied that they died based on
I also think that, and this is my interpretation. I thought that it was implied that most of these back abortions did not go well for the girls involved.
well, I mean, I think that's also accurate because you look at the time, even with like he is at least a quote unquote licensed surgeon as much as you're going to be in the 20s. So
Right.
better than a lot of stuff you're getting in a basement, but you don't have the sterile environment.
Right, but like they also
So,
they wouldn't be infamous for what they did if there wasn't
right.
horrible shit going down.
And so that's also possible. I just assume everyone dies all the time because murder
Right.
house.
Yeah.
And we flash back to the present and Vivian starts bleeding.
That was the most fucking that scene stressed me out. Just like her like in the middle of potentially miscarrying while hearing about all of these horrible, horrific acts on unborn children. Like I was like,
Been through all this and just had a miscarriage before.
correct.
Um, so this is kind of funny. She like jumps out of the bus and she like runs inside. He's like, "Ma'am, you can't go to the
You
house." She's
can't
like,
go in
"This
there.
is where I live." She's like, "For better or worse, this is my house for now."
Yeah.
And
She's
so
like,
we she runs inside. So we flash back to the doctor. Um, it turns out as soon as she got inside, the bleeding had stopped. And
which that icks me out even more. I don't like that even a tiny, tiny bit.
isn't that icky? Yeah, that ideology is going to come up again. Don't worry.
Oh,
So she's talking to the doctor, and she's like, "No, totally fine. You've got a lot of blood in your system because there's a second body in there. A little bit got out. Totally fine." And she's like,
that I have never heard that before. That might be scientifically true, but that fucking sounds whack.
"I have a lot of comments about this doctor before we get." I agree. I was like, that's not usually what you hear when there's bleeding involved. You usually hear monitor it. If it happens,
Yeah,
just come back again and we'll talk about it again.
right. She's like, don't worry about it. Everybody bleeds. I was like, I don't.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Also, she's like, don't worry, there's 70% more blood in your body. That just means it's 70% more to bleed out. Like, what? What?
I was like, this doctor feels a little sketch.
I don't agree with her medical license.
No. But then she's like, great, we're moving, so it's fine. I'm going to get out of this house. Everything's good. She's like, absolutely not. You cannot move while you're pregnant. That is one of the biggest stressors. And I'm like, first of all, being
I could think of a few more stressful things.
right.
Like being having your house broken into and being attempted murder. Like that feels more stressful than moving.
Right. Like, I get it. Moving is very stressful. But also, like, this house is more like I would rather move than live in this house. And that is saying a lot because I make it very clear how I feel about moving all the time in my life.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then she's like, no moving while pregnant. Absolutely not. And Ben stands up and then immediately faints. And the doctor's like, not even mildly concerned about anything. The bleeding's okay. Don't move.
She's like, wouldn't be the first dad who fainted in the
Yeah.
office.
Ben fainted, no problem. And I'm like, where did you get your degree? You are not concerned about anything that is medically concerning. And
I don't care for her one iota.
also do not care for her. And then we have a brief look over at the house. Constance is standing outside and she looks up. Tate's in the window and she does a little wave and he backs out of view. And that's
Mm-hmm.
it. But the real estate agent sees all of this happening, but never sees Tate. So that is
Whatever.
a
I go,
note.
so Tay's definitely not really not there. That's my note.
That is a note to note for sure. So then Ben's on his run, of course.
Of course.
And we come up to Larry, our burned guy.
Larry, I couldn't fucking remember his name to save my life.
And Larry, bless his heart. I only know because my boss's name is Larry. And I could just picture him in this type of scene and it would literally so funny. I need to tell Kathy this tomorrow, but it's so funny. So Larry's running behind him, and he's just like, "Hey, man, I need some money for headshots. Can I have $1,000 for headshots?" And that's when I was like, "Man, I'm getting a good deal on my headshots because I'm paying $200 for headshots."
Yeah.
But he's like, he's like, "I really like these." And Ben's like, "Are you insane? No." And then Blair's just like, "Whatever," and he's like running after him. So he goes home, and Ben is incessantly searching for this voice recorder still because he
Yeah.
wants to know what he missed in the time he
Blacked out. Yeah.
missed time. Yeah. And then he just wakes up digging in the dirt again. So every time he goes to find this recorder, he just wakes up in the dirt. And then Constance walks up, because of course she does. And he's like telling her all this, and she's just like, "Oh, no worries. It's stress." And I was like, "Okay, Constance." I think at this point it's more than stress,
Yeah.
but fine. Yeah. And so he's like going to dig it up, and he's like, "I'm gardening, I'm planting things." And she's like, "So you know, the guys who were here before you use so many pesticides that you might die if you plant things."
So probably just like cement it over and
Yeah.
like build a gazebo.
She's like, "Make this your paradise." And I was like, in no world is this paradise.
No, I literally wrote shut the fuck up, Constance. But also, clearly, she did not have good motives because she just, every time she started talking about covering it up, she looked up at Maura through the window and I was like, you skanky bitch.
Something's happening, right?
Yeah.
So then we go to Viv, and she gets a knock on the door. And it's Nora, who we mentioned earlier, who is also Charles's wife. She shows up to look at the house, and Viv lets her in. To be fair, she was very hesitant, which was good on her.
Yeah. She did show a lot of fear and restraint.
Right, but as she should. But as soon as Nora was like, "You know what? No problem. I'll set up an appointment. I'll come back." She's like, "Great, come inside." I was like, "Is that all it takes?" Because I'd probably still be a little bit more hesitant. And Nora's talking about how much she's in love with the build of the house. And I'm like, "Of course you are, because you built the house." Like,
Right. She's like
absolutely.
talking about how the windows match her eyes
Yeah.
and
And so she's in love. And then they go to the kitchen, and she's distraught. She's like, "This is an abomination." She's like, "What is this?" "It's a noodle maker." Like, calm down. And
right.
then Viv is not all concerned. Like, she goes to make tea for them. And Nora's like, "I would have to get rid of that." Viv is like, "Yeah, microwaves suck." I'm like, "You don't
Okay.
find that odd?"
I have a note here that is very petty, very unrelated to the plot, and very much going to give a lot of insight into my psyche and the things that bother me.
Love this. Yeah.
You have that fancy ass fucking kitchen, including a fucking pasta arm that I have never heard of in my goddamn life.
I've heard of pasta arms, but they're usually attached to another kitchen device.
And you're microwaving your tea? Are you fucking kidding me? I just about lost my mind.
At this point, you should have the kettle at a minimum.
Right. First of all, if you either put a pot on the stove, like a kettle on the stove, or I'm all for an electric kettle. Electric kettles are the greatest things in the world.
I will say, I live in a studio with nothing, and I have an electric kettle.
Dan does not have an electric kettle, and every time he microwaves water, he apologizes to me while doing it because he knows that I think that that is the most bullshit American thing in the whole world to microwave your fucking water for tea. I just cannot.
They have very cheap ones on Amazon. You could get him that for a present, like you did his utensils for
That's
cooking.
true. It's true. I should. Happy 1 year anniversary. Here's a fucking kettle.
Now you can make me some tea like a normal person does. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but so yeah, I literally had to stop the episode to take a note about how much it pissed me off that she put the cups in the microwave.
Like, she's made a lot of bad choices. This isn't the only one.
This is the worst though.
Yeah. Okay.
Taking Ben back after he cheated on her, having sex with that rubber man, literally going to choosing the doctor that she just chose. All of those better decisions than microwaving her tea.
You're not wrong. I think microwaving tea and then the doctor is next because Rubber Band, she had no way of knowing that wasn't Ben. And taking Ben back, like they have a whole life together, like
Right.
sometimes. Um, but I agree. I think the doctors are very close.
Yeah.
Literally my next note is just Viv is smart but naive. Like she's thinks everything through, but she's so just like easy to let it go afterwards too. And then Nora's talking about everything and she's talking about kids and all this, and the camera just pans around and we see the gunshot wound in the back of her head. We know that her ending wasn't well.
Was it a gunshot wound? Or was it like an axe wound?
Uh, it could have been either. It was a
Yeah. It
blunt
was
force
a
trauma,
it was
whether it was,
a definitely some kind of blunt force trauma to her head.
I just assumed gunshot because that's what I assumed. Honestly, it's been like 2 years since I watched the season, so I don't remember all of it.
I just assumed it was the 1920s, so it was an axe because everybody got fucking murdered with an axe in the 1920s for some reason.
And being married to a surgeon, like it's probably not a gunshot. That's too easy. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we go to Ben, who's in the garden, and the police come up and tell him that Sally Freeman was found in the hospital and that she tried to kill herself.
I was like,
And
thank God she's not dead. Shit.
right, so we're like, okay, so she's alive, thank goodness. And we go to the flashback where he says they play the recorder and see what happened. They found the recorder, see what happened. And he had fallen asleep due to what we learned eventually was drugs, not
Yeah.
falling asleep. And she threatens to kill herself because he's not listening. And as soon as she kills herself, he like comes back, but he doesn't remember it. He just comes back and like responds to her. And so she's like, "Oh, I see what I have to do now." And so she goes to a hotel to try to kill herself to like set her husband off from thinking
To get the
she's
attention. Yeah. Um, and then in this moment, the cop is like, you should have told us. And Ben's like, patient confidentiality. I clearly didn't do anything, which obviously is just an excuse because he doesn't know what the fuck had happened. But
absolutely.
the cop goes, it's not a crime to be an asshole. And I just wanna live in a world for 1 second where it is a crime to be an asshole.
Okay, I'm in. Let's create that world.
It would be a much smaller, like we'd need a lot more
We're making up rules anyways for the like legal system.
like
Let's might as well make that a rule. I'm in.
yeah, but like what would the prison system look like in a world where it is a crime to be an asshole?
Wait, well, you don't have to arrest people for being assholes. Like there are alternative solutions. So like I think eye for an eye still works, especially in that kind of case, because
That's
like
fair.
there's no real harm done, no lasting harm. If you
Yeah.
are mean to someone, you ignore someone, someone ignores you. If you call someone to try to commit suicide, you then go to an insane asylum for a week. Like these are all very logical
Yeah. Yeah.
choices. And they don't fill up our prison systems, which means we don't pay more taxes for it.
Right.
Some people aren't stuck in insane asylum for no reason. And like,
Or
because
like
like go for a week, you're out for like afterwards. Like it's fine.
right, like or we just like do like work camps. Like instead of a prison, your sentence is like instead of like
Very specific what you mean with work camps because that can derail very quickly.
right. No, but I mean like you're instead of like if you're an asshole to a fast food worker, you're
Oh,
instead of going to prison, you have to work at a fast food restaurant for X number of like days. I don't mean like I obviously don't mean fucking concentration
sure,
camps.
sure. That's absolutely what it sounds like, but I knew you didn't mean that, so I wanted to make it clear where we stand on Nazism and whatnot.
Yeah, no, for sure not about
Anti, if it wasn't
yeah,
clear.
no, for sure not pro concentration camp, Japanese labor camp, not about any of it. World War II level punishments, not my thing. But I do
Like
think
people
that
cleaning up the side of the road, sure. Those are
right, like but like if you're an asshole to a fast food worker, you have to work in fast food. If you can't fucking drive, like you need to drive a public bus. Maybe not that one because that puts other people in danger.
a lot of people at risk. If you can't drive, you can't have a license for 6 months. You retake the test.
Right, like you have to
Yeah,
yeah. It
it's
should there
more
should be like
like
a legitimate rehabilitation program.
real rehabilitation that doesn't actually hurt anyone. It doesn't even hurt the person being punished. It just makes you learn from your mistakes.
Right.
But let's build this new world.
If you're an asshole to a teacher, You got to write their lesson plans for,
That's a good one. Although I will say,
and lesson plans have to pass standards and be approved by a principal. You can't just like write it for shits.
I feel like that's something I would enjoy. Like being not a teacher, I would like to write teacher lesson plans for like
You
the,
say that,
but I
you
don't want to do it
don't.
forever. No, I want to do it one time. I think I enjoy it one time, but then
Okay.
I would never want to do it again.
I am a teacher and I literally won't call in sick because I don't want to have to write extra plans.
No,
So no.
that's totally fair. Um, but yeah, no, I'm in for this new world you want to create.
I'm really it would be a beautiful place.
The world of death and aliens, where no one dies and we are friends with aliens.
Yeah.
That's what we're creating.
And a lot of Karens work at McDonald's.
Oh God, the dream. Ugh, with hairnet, they all need hairnets, even if it's not required, because they would lose their minds.
Yes.
Oh, love it. So now we're apartment hunting.
Yeah. Right.
Viv and
Just
Violet,
casually.
just casually, and they're having the best time, which means
Mhm.
they're having a terrible time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They're like, this is fine. This, first of all, that's not a studio they're looking at. That is at least a one bedroom, if not more.
No, it's a 2 bedroom because we saw Viv circle 2 bedroom in the
Oh,
newspaper.
right. I forgot about the newspaper scene. Because I was like, Ben said they could have a studio, and then I went there. I was like, that is not a studio. But
No.
and Violet loses it. She's so upset. She's like, we're not moving. She's like, our house has character. I'm just so happy there. She's like, I've never been happy before in my life. She's a little dramatic. She's like, I've never been
Yeah.
happy before in my life, and I love it here. And then she's like, I'm gonna run away, and you'll never be able to find me. I was like, okay,
I was like,
perfect.
Vi, you're a psycho.
Right. I mean, also yes, but like, where are you gonna go? Like, you don't know anyone, but fine. And we go back to Ben, who's getting his results, and we find out he had laudanum. I know I
Laudanum.
spelled it right. I can't say it, but
Laudanum.
laudanum in his system, which was outlawed in 1944. So this comes from someone.
Well, but no, in the show they said 1936.
1936. I swear there was a four in there. I may have made that up.
I
1930.
think I think you did.
You know, it's fine. I put a question mark behind it because I was watching it and I was like, I'm not gonna rewind. I think they said 44. And but I was very close. 1936. Um, but that's what he learns. And then as soon as he hears that information, Hayden shows up. Because of course she does. And she's just running around like a lunatic. And I'm like, look, here's the thing. You've had a bad thing happen to you. You were in a bad situation. You were the student of someone in power, so it's definitely the person in power's fault, but you're also acting like a lunatic. And I don't want
Right.
to blame you, but I will current day blame you for being a lunatic. Like those are different issues.
Uh, it was 1938, by the way. I don't
And
know where, yeah, I don't know where I got the 1936 either.
we'll split the difference. It's fine.
Yeah.
And she's running around and everything is chaos. And he's like, we're going to do this.
Um,
He's like, we'll go
Also,
wherever.
sorry, because I was looking up what year it was, no wonder it fucked people up. Laudanum was made by dissolving the opiate from poppies in
Yeah.
alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah. It's not great. There's a reason it was outlawed. Like, you know,
and
it's a,
that was outlawed before they stopped putting cocaine in Coca-Cola. Like that's
yeah.
how bad it is.
They were like, cocaine's fine, not laudanum. This is rough. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So Ben's telling her, he's like, we'll go wherever you want, no question, blah blah blah, whatever. They walk outside, the Birdman just like waylays her with
I
a
was like,
shovel.
what the fuck, man?
And Larry is just trying to protect Ben. He's like, we're gonna kill her right now. It's fine. And he just like keeps
And, he,
beating her.
and he's like, but don't worry, you didn't kill anybody. You're still safe.
Yeah,
The fuck does that mean?
he's like, but you killed her. And he's like, but you didn't. He's like, but this is fine. And then he's like, don't worry about it. You've already started this hole over here that you were digging. I'll just keep digging it and I'll bury her. You go about your life. I was like, Larry, what is wrong with you? You are
So
an
much.
insane person, but fine.
So much
And,
is wrong with him.
and of course, then he's like, so about that money for the headshots. And I was like, at this point, I'd probably just give it to him. Maybe he'd leave it to me.
Right.
But,
Right.
oh my gosh. So Larry goes to bury her. And as he gets deeper into the hole, he finds another body. And
It's
we get a shot of
Moira's.
the window, and Moira has tears coming down her face.
And he pulls up the collar of the dress.
Yeah, and Constance shows up stealing more stuff, of course. She's got the
Of
earring.
course.
And we learn that Moira is now stuck there forever because her body has been dug up and is being reburied under someone else's body.
Yeah.
And so her bones cannot be laid to rest. So naturally, Ben's
Well,
response.
and right, no, she doesn't say that until Ben puts the concrete down on top of the spot.
Yeah, I shouldn't say it, but like, you know it, and Moira
Yeah.
knows it.
Yeah.
And so he follows Constance's advice and lays the concrete and builds a gazebo. Because what do you do but build a gazebo over your dead lover?
Um, okay, two things. One, the amount of progress on that gazebo for the supposed few hours that he was working on it is absolutely not even fucking possible.
I mean, they got pregnant in 13 seconds, so this was more probable than the pregnancy.
My other comment is Hayden now going to be a fucking ghost walking around that house? Because that's just, I don't know if I can handle that shit.
Look, you never know. You never know. You got to stay
Yeah.
tuned.
I don't like it.
So Ben builds the gazebo, and Vivian is thrilled about the gazebo because she knows it's going to add like a monetary value to the property. That's what she
Yeah.
said. It's like build a backyard so we can sell it. And
Yeah.
go to them sleeping calmly and peacefully. And then Nora's there. And Nora
Just looking at
just watching over.
sleeping.
And that's the end of the episode. I know it took 7 hours to get there, but that is the end of the episode. So,
Yeah.
who do you want to punch in the face?
Um, that is a very difficult question. Quite a few people, but probably Constance, because she's a bitch to Moira for I'm not 100% sure what reason. Like, yes, she slept with your husband, but also it really wasn't her fault.
Yeah, I assumed you would say Constance, so she was one of mine, but I was like, I'll
Yeah.
pick it. I know she's gonna pick
Yeah.
Constance.
Yeah.
And as you know, I like to punch people who have already died. So I picked Hayden.
You know, that was honestly, if she hadn't died, I would have picked her.
I know how you like are very upset when people die and then I still punch them, but I just,
No, I mean, you honestly, she still deserves to die or like to get punched a little bit. I'm not a fan of hers, but I was just so taken aback by her death that like it like put a couple stones back on the like not punch scale and it teetered it out of control. But because if she hadn't died and she had continued to be a fucking nuisance, I definitely would have punched her.
yeah, she was just like off the walls this episode.
Yeah.
So who's your MVP?
Oh, shit bags. There was an MVP.
You gotta like somebody.
Stan, the Eternal Darkness bus driver.
Like who's Stan? I forgot what his name was. Okay, but he's like profiting off these people's like misery.
Okay, no, but like, okay, you
Not
lived
that
in
I've
New
never been
Orleans.
on a murder tour. Like I've
I was
totally
like, you've lived in New Orleans, you know
I lived
that,
in New Orleans, and when I went to San Francisco, I went on a murder tour. Like I get it.
right? Yeah, like, yeah, those people, honestly, sometimes they're like some of the coolest people. They're just like living their lives, and they're like the girl that did my haunting tour. And one of my, I did two haunting tours when I was in New Orleans, and the girl who did like my daytime walking one. After the tour was over, I spent like an hour and a half just like drinking coffee with her and like chatting, and she was like, "Your soul belongs in this city," and I was like, "Ma'am, you have no idea."
Love that. That's like my guy in San Francisco that I went on his tour. He was just like the best. When we'd go to a new bar because it was like a bar hopping ghost tour.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I would always like settle in first because I know how bars work, so I'd get my drink and then settle in. And then
yeah.
he'd be there and I'd just like sit and talk with him for ages while everybody else took their sweet
Yeah.
time. On that note, my MVP is Larry.
Fuck that guy. He's a crackhead.
He just cracks me up so much. Like I can't get enough of him when he's in the episode because he makes me laugh every time. He's like just
Abs-
trying to get headshots to be an actor with a half-burned face. And then he's like just trying to protect Ben. He's like, this chick is crazy. So I'm gonna just kill her. And it's
Yeah.
fine. And I'm gonna take care of everything. And you'll be and then he tries to talk to him, he's like, you know the house is giving you all this information and it's trying to make you do weird things. So like I'm gonna protect you from this. So, like he's got a good heart.
Okay. He smacked a pregnant woman in the face with a shovel.
Okay, but that saved Ben a lot of heartache. I mean, he was heartbroken, obviously, but it
I
having to like come up with stuff for his wife now. So here's some fun facts for you, some trivia if you're ready.
I'm I'm ready.
This episode, I had to screenshot it because it's really long. This episode promulgates a long-standing but totally unfounded urban legend that the actor Sal Mineo, who was the guy we saw in the alley,
Yeah.
played here by James Gaudioso, was killed by a man he had tried to pick up for sex, which is the long-running urban legend.
Yeah.
In fact, the man who confessed to and was tried and convicted for stabbing Mineo was not the black guy that they talked about in the show, but
Yeah.
he had been a pizza delivery man who killed Mineo while trying to rob him. The actual murderer had no idea who Mineo was, either in a short-term sexual encounter sense or in a larger awareness of his celebrity. Also, Mineo was only stabbed once, not the multiple times shown in the episode, though the stab wasn't his heart.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, Sal Mineo, I didn't think he died because of a hate crime. I thought that was not a true thing.
It wasn't, but that's an urban legend that people talk about a lot. So just
Yeah.
this episode. A piece of the score from Dracula 1992 is heard in this episode. The house used in filming is the Rosenheim Mansion. And Connie Britton, who of course plays Vivian Harmon, and
Yeah.
Eric, who plays Hugo Landon, have also appeared together in Nashville as husband and wife.
It was who? Hugo?
Hugo Langdon, I think that.
Oh, that's Constance's husband.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
I was like, who the fuck?
we saw him like 3 seconds before he died.
Yeah.
And last but not least, the officer investigating Sally Freeman's disappearance. Her name's Adina Porter, by the way.
Hmm.
So she went to a hotel downtown to kill herself, and this will be referenced in a later season.
All right.
So stay tuned. Yeah, and so that's what I have for my trivia and my episode. Do you have any predictions?
I mean, so far, all my thoughts about people being ghosties has been accurate, I think.
I mean, you're two for two,
Um,
right?
what's that?
You're 2 for 2, right?
Yeah.
Tate Moore is the only one we've talked about.
Yeah, Tate and Moira were the only ones that I was sure about.
I will say,
Not
sorry for the spoiler, I think Tate is a big reveal in the like one of the later episodes, but I feel like it's very clear from this episode.
not even from, I mean, I thought like that was like a in the first episode, that was like a wild speculation.
It's definitely a thought in the first and second episode, but I feel
Right. But in the second episode when he disappeared during the murder, like during the break-in, I was like, there's no fucking way I'm wrong. And then this one when he's in the window and then he's like I was like, I don't know how that's a big reveal because that's fairly fucking obvious.
yeah. So I think it was meant to be a big reveal. So if you didn't know, I am so sorry for ruining your expectations. Those are the only ghosts
Why?
you called out, aside from the ones that like clearly
The ones
died.
that are clearly ghosts because their murders were revealed before they were there. I also think there's some sketch stuff with Addie, but I don't know that she's a ghost. I just don't know what the deal with that is. Because I don't, Constance's connection to the house is still, I'm
Iffy.
trying to work out what that is.
Like there's still some mystery for you.
Yeah, no, for sure. to be honest, I still don't like I'm understanding that these are all people that live in the house, but like why does everybody fucking die in this house? Why are there all these spirits in it? Like
Mhm.
I still don't get it.
Are you starting to feel a bit more connected though than you did in the first episode? Like, or are you still just like off the walls? Like,
I still just I think they're peppering in answers, but the fact that every episode starts with a new murder and new characters is making it difficult to feel like I get what's going on.
yeah, I will tell you, you get your answers from the season.
I'm sure. I'm sure. It's just
The
it's the
base for this whole series, and so you see a lot of Murder House entwined throughout the next 10 seasons. Like,
which I have heard that and that this is like the
and you
one.
never stop learning about it, but you do get all of your answers from the first season. Um,
Yeah. No, and it's not like I said, I'm not enjoying it. I don't know. I don't like that I don't understand it.
and that's fair. That's fair.
Um, I also will say right now, if the weird thing that is scuttling around the basement is one of these fucking Dr. Frankenstein animals and I have to see that shit, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind.
I don't think you get answers to that until either the ninth or tenth episode. Like, it's one of the last episodes of the season you find out about what like is actually happening.
That is gotta be the most like the just the idea of that thing, like one of those creatures, that is just fucking nasty to me. It's not even that I think it's scary, I just think it's gross.
No, I totally get that. Um, well, next episode you get to see some more spirits coming through.
Mm.
Uh, but I think it starts present day or at least revisit something we've already talked about. I don't think it's a new
Okay. That'll be nice because that is
but the
for me
next two
the
episodes. One is introduces something a bit new but ties in everything else, and one doesn't
okay.
introduce something new but also ties in everything else.
Okay, because that's for me the one thing that I'm struggling with. It's like I understand keeping it mysterious, but it's the adding a new layer to it every time without enough answers to back up adding a new layer. It just feels slightly overwhelming.
I love that layer, but I also get how that can be overwhelming. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So that's our episode. That is quote unquote the actual Murder House episode.
Hmm.
Next week we will get into more of the mysteries of this wonderful house. And if you
Wonderful. That's a
want to
word for it.
if yeah, that's the word for it. If you have predictions, thoughts, whatever, email us, deathandaliens@gmail.com. You can find us on all the social media at Death and Aliens. If you have like real predictions or thoughts or know what happens, like if you're gonna spoil it, come to me at CE Cloud 13 everywhere.
And and follow me everywhere. No spoilers, please. At EMKAY_superstar.
And we will see you for our next Sci-Fi Sunday. That is probably going to be off the rails if I had to guess. That was my prediction. So we'll see what happens. See ya.
Bye.